Hello, everybody. I'm Impulsive underscore Veins on Twitch, and I have noticed that when I go to help other people, streamers or friends, that tend to have a lot of difficulty with the final boss of the game, which, by the way, this is spoilers because if you haven't reached this point and haven't attempted it yourself, which I recommend, I wouldn't continue watching this just because I feel like you should go into the fight and attempt it several times before you look out for help or try to Google things online and try and get help and tips and stuff like that. So um but if you have been struggling for a while and you just seem to be stuck, or even if you have been told or understand the proper way of fighting this person, and for some reason just can't do it, you can't come up with enough damage, or you're just not sure what kind of loadout to use, I'm going to show you a loadout that I recommend. It's really simple. It makes the fight really, really easy, really fast. Now, I understand that with the random generation of gear and bosses you can get in your game, you most likely won't have everything that I'm going to be using. And if that's the case, the point that I'm trying to make in this is that um, there are different variants on how to create a lot of damage. And I'm going to kind of go over some of them, but this one that I'm going to be showing you is probably the best one. It's the easiest one to use as well. It's consistent. So I would definitely recommend using this one if you have those things. If not, there are substitutes for each thing that I'm using. Biggest thing though is if you look in the bottom left, you can see I have a lot of consumables. You don't need that many. However, I do recommend that you get a lot of the blood warts and ammo boxes. Those are going to be your biggest things that you're going to be using during the fight. Blood warts, they regen your health. Not a ton, but it does cancel out one of the effects during the fight where it does take away your health. So if you pop one of those during that time, it's not going to take away health. It's going to keep it pretty much around the same. It might be a little bit slower depending on how geared you are and all that, but they're really important. And you're going to be doing a lot of, shooting, so ammo boxes are always helpful to keep on you. So these two, always recommend to have on you, especially in your quick slot. You can do other things, frenzy dust if you want to increase your fire rate and all that, reload, stuff like that. It's not necessary. Um, I don't really know if you have the money, like the scrap and stuff, to buy all your buffs, including like the tonic or the jerky or golden plum, like stuff like that. Go for it. Like that just makes it so much easier. But you don't need those. Bloodwort, ammo box, bare minimum. That's all you require. So the loadout I'm going to be using, which I found to be the best, biggest thing, right, is your crossbow and the swarm mod. For your substitute for swarm mod, if you don't have that, I recommend Breath of the Desert. That's something that's pretty identical to swarm. I feel like swarm's a little bit better, but that will do generally the same thing to the boss. Um, I've seen people use other things, like hot shot on the beam rifle, explosive shot, stuff like that. They work, but I definitely recommend if you can get either Swarm or Breath of the Desert, those are the go-tos. Now, I've done this fight multiple times with only my crossbow, never used my secondary, but for this, I'm going to, just in case, have my pistol on here. And because pistols usually have set mods that you can't really change, I'm going to be using the repeater pistol. I think that it's pretty consistent and it's a good weapon even throughout the whole entire game, even though it's your starter. I'm going to use Hunter's Mark because it helps to highlight enemies in a section of the boss fight. So that's what I'm going to be using, and of course I'm going to be using the Slayer. It says Harbinger because that's the skin, but it's called the Slayer armor set, and that's because it helps with damage when you use a crossbow or sniper rifle like that. So I'm going to be using those. These are just stuff to help with. Actually, I can change this. Let's see. So Heartseeker I use because if an enemy isn't aggro to you, it's a guaranteed crit, which is more damage. And then I'm going to also be using, let's see here. Um, we should have weak spot damage. That is a huge one. Because if you're good enough to focus only on weak spots of enemies, that's gonna do so much for you. Your weak spot damage plus a crit is gonna do massive damage. It's gonna make this fight go way, way quicker. And then Gunslinger's Charm, you know, reload speed 20% just because crossbow, you know, you're reloading every time you shoot. So to me, I feel like that's helpful to have the extra bonus. Now you can mess around with these all you want. Like that isn't set. That's just what I personally prefer to use. But go ahead and use, you know, whatever you want. And then the melee doesn't really matter. I don't ever use the melee, especially in this fight. Doesn't matter. You can use anything. If you want, you could use something like Riven that steals health. If you need to get some health back, you're in that kind of tight situation, you know, go ahead and use that. Or mod generation by the Guardian Axe. You know, it's all up to you. Biggest thing, crossbow, swarm, breath of the desert, one of those things. And then your consumables. So we're gonna start this fight, and I've set my save so that I have this fight. That way I can show an example of a good loadout to use. And this is live, so if you ever want to catch me live doing stuff like this,
Once again,
check out my channel.
The children of the core think to change the inevitable. They do not see the truth, the futility of their actions. We bring purity to chaos, serenity to bedlam. All will be consumed. This is necessary and good. The children do not understand. The children believe their lives worth living. The children are wrong. The worlds and the core of the worlds live in pain, agony, discord. We bring peace, equality, silence. All are one within our embrace. The children resist what cannot be resisted. They fight a battle that cannot be won. Their actions are ultimately irrelevant. No matter how many times they rise, they will be destroyed. We will consume.
Here we go. So, like I said, if you've been doing this fight, you know this is just the first stage. Oh my goodness. I'm a little bit rusty, as you can tell. There we go. You can see the damage I'm doing with just headshots. You can sneak a shot in when he's doing the spin attack, as long as you line yourself up, because you don't have to worry about being hit while you're being sucked in. So headshots are important. Usually I'm a little bit more on point, but I haven't actually done this fight in quite a while. I do enjoy this fight. A lot of people hate it. I've had a few people, you know, friends of mine that have actually quit the game from this fight because it can be a little frustrating. But so your goal is to get some distance between you and him in this particular area. The further back in the room, you can actually just walk. You can just walk away to the side and avoid his attacks. You know, it's really simple. You're not going to be doing damage because damage in this fight, in this particular area right now in the start, does not matter. So you can see Swarm charges up fast. I already have my Swarm. However, I'm not using it in this next area. I'm going to pop a Bloodwort, cancel the healing, find a portal, and you can see I'm just one-shotting these enemies. Now I'm going to use this to charge up my Hunter's Mark. That way it's a little bit easier for me to see with the crossbow shots, but as long as you're hitting your headshots, you're going to be able to hit these guys with one shot. Now I'm a little bit leveled, so I'm gonna be hitting one shots anyways. And you only need a 10 buff for this to work. I like to go a little bit above and beyond, and I'm out of ammo, so I'm gonna go through. And you're gonna use swarm on him right away and back off, so you don't get hit by these attacks. And look at that, he's already cracked. And your goal is to try to hit headshots on him with the crossbow. And you can see how much damage you already did to him. Almost one-shotted him. Now that's with me being rusty, right? So you could do that one shot as long as you're like focused up and you're ready and you're good. So I'm gonna use an ammo box now. And you'll charge up the swarm so fast in this room. Like mine's about to be charged up already. And like I said, you can go for 10 attacks or 10 kill buffs. You know, that's all you need for the damage to crack the final boss. I just go for a while just because I can. It's like a guaranteed damage buff. And if you go further than 10, let's say like 15 or something, you will absolutely just destroy that boss's health.
This ain't good.
Alright, so we're gonna run through, heal up. I have swarm mod. Pick up some ammo first. Swarm mod him. He's gonna crack so fast. Ready? Boom, cracked. Get up nice and close so you can headshot him, and there you go. That's under like a 2-minute fight right there. If you one-shot him so fast, that's the best way that you possibly can just destroy the final boss. Super quick. So recommend crossbow and swarm. Breath of Desert works just as well. You can do anything you'd like, as long as you know and understand the mods that are going to do constant damage. Because the reason swarm works so well is that each of those green orbs that are released from you to do damage, they also take on that the damage stack that you receive from killing enemies in the voided area. So as long as you have something like Swarm or Breath of Desert, which Breath of Desert, each projectile also takes damage like that, you're going to stack how much damage you put on him, and that will crack him like almost instantly, which will allow you to do damage. And if you're doing it with friends, you know, all it takes is one person to crack him like that, and you guys will all just absolutely destroy him, especially with like 15 plus stacks of damage. It's amazing. It's definitely the best way to go. So really easy. If you have a certain loadout that you receive during your gameplay and you're not sure whether or not you can make something work, you know, just hit me up. I go live, you know, on Twitch, impulsive_veins. Hit me with a follow if you want to see me when I go live, or I'm probably going to upload this to YouTube as well. So if it's on YouTube, you can just leave a comment and tell me, you know, hey, I've got this and this. Could this come out with enough damage to crack him, or what do you recommend I do? And if you don't feel like you have enough gear to do this, you can always go to adventure mode and go and look for gear that you're missing, like Swarm or something like that, and get those items before you actually fight the boss or kill him. And then once you do, you got your game completed. It's really easy. So that's all I recommend. You know, I hope you guys got some help, some tips, a little bit more of an understanding on what your goal is in that fight. Just as much damage as you can output right there. As soon as you get back, damage. Biggest thing. Blood warts, ammo boxes, that's all you need, and just go at them. And that's it. So, hope you guys have a fun time. Hope you guys beat that boss that you've been struggling with, and